Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. One last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now, we are joined by Neil, 10th Man, Flatzoid, Arwin, and a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome one and all.
Hello, hello.
Good afternoon.
Ni hao.
Good afternoon. I'll have to hustle a few people off mute in Discord. I don't think I've actually been paying too much attention. Let's just check. I know, I have been. Yeah, we'll get straight on with housekeeping. Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge horizon formerly known as Earth curve?
Not from the shores of a beach in the Bahamas.
Yeah. Well, I heard this story the other day about boats going over the horizon again.
The horizon's not a physical...
And how does that happen?
It's not a physical
I
geometric
don't know, they
sphere
keep on bringing it back up.
How do you measure something that's not physical?
You reify it into reality.
Hey, I told Nathan the other day I had a boat, and every time I tried to go over the horizon, it kept moving from me.
So not actual then?
Yeah, not actually. I can never catch up with it.
Any evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
None whatsoever.
I don't feel spinny, no.
That to me is the funnest part of this whole topic we have, is when I talk to normies about the Earth rotating, and they have to admit that, no, my senses don't pick up that we are spinning right now. And I go, so then who told you it was, and what proof did they give you? We're back to grade school when I challenged my teacher about it.
Yeah.
Who knew that one day you'd be not challenging the teacher on it, but challenging the world on their belief that we spin?
I'm telling you, I am smiling from cheek to cheek. I'm excited to be where I'm at.
Yeah, it's so nice to know we're not the one making stupid claims.
See, I knew back then as a kid I was right, but I had to go through school and put up with the garbage. But now, to be able to be on the front lines and going back to that young age when it happened to me, I feel so vindicated. That it's almost like I'm prepared for this from that time, because I remember that so clearly, how they shut me down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the same similar situation happen to me when I was a child.
Share it.
Oh, nothing. Just holding on to the fact that this just can't be, and just fighting it all the time, and the teacher just constantly, this is how it is, and yeah, I mean, I just grew up knowing something was wrong. There's, I've been into conspiracy my whole life, so.
Well, with me, it was even worse. Oh, sorry. Continue.
I don't think you were interrupting anyone, Arwin.
I think he was continuing. Were you?
No, I'm done.
Okay, sorry. Right. Yeah, with me it's even worse, because for me, I originally remember all these moments like I'm bad, because people told me they were bad, and I was very vulnerable to the idea of peer pressure, right? So I remembered not even knowing the content of why, but just like, yeah, I'm this stupid kid that they get wrong, and oh, everybody hates me and all that. Like from one perspective, but now I have much more clear memory of what actually happened there, what was talked about, and now I realize, like, damn, I was just in a very tight position, and I was unable to deal with that. That I was there. I didn't want to be me in this world.
What the hell's going on?
But now,
No, I mean,
now I do.
We're in the middle of flat Earth debate, and you're discussing your childhood, and this isn't a therapy session. What's going on?
I'm actually talking about the argumentations at the time.
Could you make that a bit clearer?
Conflict with teachers and shit. Very young already, from what I was taught by my parents, who were like really trying to pour in high-level logic in me. And yeah, they would shame me for it. And then I would feel stupid. I would even like doubt what my parents were saying because I was just shamed so bad because of it. So I had a lot of issues with the globe and all of this and the lies of the world. I couldn't accept they were lies because the punishment was too high. So yeah, I was like a baller like that. And I felt like, yeah, I was just stupid as a kid. Now I'm more adapted. And now I woken up to flat Earth and realized, like, no way, it's the exact other way around.
Gotcha. Finally, you
it didn't really bother
contextualised
me
it.
though.
Yeah, you contextualize it at the end with the globe, with one word. But that's all I was looking for, because up until that point, it just sounded like you were looking for a bit of therapy about how your childhood was.
Yeah.
No, I was tracking with Arwen. I think what he said is happening to a lot of people.
Indeed.
That could be right.
There was a psychotherapist in 24/7 earlier.
Exactly, they're in need of therapy. That's why I said it's like we're not here to counsel these people, or Arwen for that matter. Although he's not seeking that, he's just making an example.
No, we have to convert them.
No, we don't. Oh god! Right, we'll get into that in a minute after housekeeping. Shout out to that flat fellow for the sunglasses. Really appreciate it. Where were we? Distance to the sun?
None of that.
No,
What is it?
can't be measured.
Well, how do you measure something? You have to first assume something to be able to measure it. Not really anything you can because it keeps moving.
Only a Kepler maniac said he measured it.
A Kepler maniacs. That's class.
And how did this Kepler
This is where I
maniac
get the-
measure it?
There's a fine line with puns, right, between absolute genius and no, it just doesn't work. Now, Kepler maniacs almost doesn't work, which is what makes it genius. And
This is when the ballers pop up and say sextants.
That's how he went about measuring it, this Kepler maniac?
Measured it. Nobody measured it. Needed
Hey, chocolate.
eyes and
We got it. We got a distance, 93 million miles away. I learned it in
Calculation.
school.
That's a
they're assuming
calculation.
R. They're assuming R for Venus and Earth.
So my teachers lied to me, Nathan.
They were
No.
like to.
No, they had no intention to deceive you. They were just doing their job. So no, they didn't lie to you. They were just wrong.
Oh yeah, according to you, I should have realized when I was learning my 1, 2, 3s and ABCs that when he dropped this heliocentric model on me, that I was supposed to figure it out.
That's correct. When you were 3, you should have realised that it's just a philosophy. Ask the right questions. I mean, what's wrong with you?
Not
Oh,
that bright in
gosh.
Brooklyn.
That was great.
You're not questioning this stuff at 3, then there's no hope. I'm sorry, we're all lost. Well, yeah, that's why we were all lost, right? That's precisely why. And that's the reason why you're told at 3, so that you don't question it and say, hang on a second, what do you mean model? Isn't this a reification fallacy? Based on a false dichotomy, if I could bring up anything about flat Earth? No, you're not going to say that at 3 years old, are you?
No, Nathan's like, oh, by the way, Earth's a globe, and here's a lollipop for you.
Oh, the tricks.
Any scientific evidence of gravity?
Nope.
You cannot have scientific validity of concepts.
Well, I think the most important thing is assessing what they mean by gravity and then just tearing it apart from that point. So yeah, no scientific evidence for something that happens in nature, and they put a label of gravity on it to support a globe that doesn't exist.
Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
Nope.
No, not even a no.
Yeah, I've had a lady contact me about doing sticks and shadows, and she's laid it out for me and keeps calling it an experiment. I won't name and shame her at this stage. I've had 2 or 3 emails with her so far, most of them very stroppy from my side, as I'm saying, no, this isn't science. What's the hypothesis? And in her most recent email to me, she said, what do I have to do to gain your trust? And I could have just went into a blind rage, but I just responded by email instead.
Whoa.
You know, it's like,
Told you.
yeah, it's like, you don't need to gain my trust. You need empirical evidence. And you keep calling what you're doing scientific. You keep calling it an experiment. So give me the hypothesis. It's just that simple.
Did she read how to debate the flat earther? Because it sounds like from the
I was
playbook.
just gonna say it. See, they depend on that trust, man. You don't have that trust, your model doesn't work. Just trust us, man.
Yeah, I asked her for a hypothesis. Did she give me one? No. She asked me what she needs to do to gain my trust. I'm not even joking.
What was the observed phenomenon that she initially came and shared?
All the questions I've been asking, I laid it out when she said, what do I need to gain your trust and support in this scientific endeavour? I'm paraphrasing. She didn't say that. Nevertheless, she kept using the word science. She kept claiming she's doing an experiment. So I kept asking for the hypothesis. And I even laid out in the first attempt to get that from her what it was. I'm like, IV, independent variable. That's your presumed cause of the effect. DV, the phenomenon you're studying. And a null. That's it. Other than control variables, which I think are listed. So I'm like, that's what I want. I want a scientific prediction, a hypothesis. What are you observing? What do you think the cause is? What's the null? And then we're golden. What's the response? Literally, that was what I said. And the response to that was, what do I need to do to gain your trust? Because you're telling me I'm doing pseudoscience. That's what she said. I'm like, yeah, it is. Until you give me a hypothesis, it's just pseudoscience. Look up pseudoscience, woman. I didn't get that stroppy with her in my reply, but that's what I felt like saying. You know, go and look up what pseudoscience says. A non-adherence to the scientific method. And I'm asking you for step 2. And you haven't given it me. You're asking me for your trust. My God. So no viable hypotheses from any of those fields?
Well, asking you for validation when the method is not you. The method is the method. It has nothing to do with Nathan Oakley.
Maybe she did read that article. Just gain their trust. It's like, also, look up how a confidence trickster works.
Yes.
Moving on. Bad gravity.
Well,
Any
I wonder
evidence
if she did read that article, you know?
Probably. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea what these people do. I'm not going to divine her thoughts. I just know what she's
Well,
telling
these
me.
articles are handed out as legitimate study work by this whole group. So, yeah, to us, it's absolutely preposterous. But to them, it's like they do study it, a lot of them.
Well,
I must
she's legitimately following its instruction, which is you can't argue with flat earthers about evidence. Well, it's not about evidence and arguments. It's about building trust. So that's what she's doing with Nathan. She's building trust. Maybe she hasn't figured out. He would trust her a lot more if she would just give him the hypothesis that he was asking for, but who knows? Who knows?
Trust is irrelevant when you've got science. Science is empirical. She's going to give me some empiricism. That would be validated science. Given that she's telling me she's doing an experiment, then that's what you need. I don't need to trust her if she's got science. She doesn't need to trust me. Empiricism negates all requirement for trust. That's science. That's why it's in effect. That's why it's a useful method. That's why we're asking for it. And you keep telling us you've got science, don't you, Globers? You keep telling us how science has proven this. And you've got none. We point out that you've got pseudoscience, ask you for a hypothesis, and the reply is, how can I get you to trust me? Any evidence of the R value, Earth radius?
No.
Black swan.
Is there any other?
Is that John? Go ahead, John. Or you slipped off the push to talk button.
Is there any way to measure R without measuring the non-physical horizon in their paradigm?
They also say they do it from space.
How would you know there's an R to measure in the first place without assuming first it's a ball?
Correct, chocolate. But he just asked specifically, do they claim any other measurements? Yeah, from a second law of thermodynamics violation, sky vacuum.
So everything's just a fallacy to them, and they just keep circling back to another fallacy.
Yeah.
Or it's the trust fallacy.
Well, when your whole model starts and ends with presupposition, I mean, what are you left to do? Right?
Presuppose it and just get the trust of the person so that when you tell them that you're presupposing it, like with sticks and shadows, well, we're assuming we're on a spherical surface when we take these measurements. Again, I pointed that out to this particular individual whose name I won't divulge at this stage. Again, completely ignored. Yeah, you're assuming a sphere though, aren't you, with this? She's like, how am I assuming a sphere? I'm like, give me the maths.
Was she also going to assume the nature of the sun? Or, like, how is that going to work?
If it was science, it would have a hypothesis, it would have a phenomenon. You know, this is none of those things. This is observe and declare, make up a little just so story, do a bit of maths, insert an R value, that would be Chocolate's point, a presupposition that the Earth's a sphere to begin with.
Hey Nathan,
Yeah.
if people are responding to you like, why don't you trust me? You could say as a very dry rebuttal, why are you ignoring me?
Again, that's exactly what I did say, Arwin. I pointed out the amount of times I'd asked for the hypothesis in my email exchange with her. I think it was 6 or 7, something like that, but I put the number like I do in chats, right? Yeah, that's about the 6th time I've asked you and you've ignored me, right? Where's the hypothesis? That's all I care about, given that you've told me this is science.
Yep.
It's a bit, or much like the Coriolis argument, where they insist that the Earth is turning underneath objects. But then when we say, but we don't ever see that in reality. And so, well, why don't you just trust us? It's happening. It's this way. I mean, none of their claims, like R should be at 1.22 miles at 1 foot observer height, that's not there. Earth turning underneath anything not attached to it, well, that's not there. So you don't have to take a big step of study to figure out that they have no proof for any of the stuff. It's all a presupposition, like Chocolate said.
Any evidence that you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container for all the fundies who think the sky is a vacuum?
Possible.
Nope.
Can't even have a vacuum without a container.
This is when they pop up and say gravity, and then you ask them to demonstrate it, and they can't demonstrate it. So obviously not, because the concept cannot overcome entropy, and in reality, we have gas pressures to breathe. So you obviously have containment.
Yep. Gas cannot settle in an infinite container.
I've been reading up on room acoustics to bore all my Patreons who've had non-stop videos about it, but one of the recent diagrams I came across from an acoustician was sort of debunking some of the claims people make about pressure with sound. And one of the claims that a lot of people who sell this equipment will make is that the pressure gathers in the corners, right? Total nonsense, right? So this guy, I might even put it up on tomorrow's show if I can screen grab it. I'll go back and find it. He's got these pictures of these basically gas molecules, right? And he's showing all of them at one end of the room in the corners with little angry faces, and then showing the other end of the room and he writes vacuum. It's like, this isn't how gas behaves. And then he shows the next diagram. This is how gas behaves. And he shows it evenly distributed throughout the room. It's like, that's how the air behaves. It doesn't gather up in corners. You know, he's trying to explain this as an acoustician with pressure, because that's what they're dealing with, right? Low frequency energy. It's just pressure. And the way it behaves is consistent. And we know it. It's very well documented. It just cracks me up that in a completely separate field, this guy's having to fight against people in the industry that's got a lot of voodoo in it. That would be acoustics, saying, no, pressure doesn't gather places. That's not how it works. You know, standing waves are a completely different description, but it's not stuff gathering up in corners, a whole load of angry gas particles going, we're high pressure.
Does this got to do with musicians?
Yeah. So if you've got waves, i.e. frequencies, at a specific set number of cycles per second in a given room space, if you've got, I don't know, 20 hertz, it's like 40 foot long. Well, most people's lounges aren't big enough. So if you're going to convert a bedroom or a lounge or whatever into a studio, the first thing you need to be concerned about is the fact that most of your frequencies don't fit in the room. Well, what happens when that happens is they bounce off one wall and then complete the wave going the other way and either cancel or reinforce. So you get what's called destructive interference or constructive interference, which creates peaks and dips in the response. Well, that's technically boring as all shit, considering we're talking about the nature of the world. But the point is, it's not a load of gas pressure gathering up somewhere. It's the waves, and we're talking about literal waves, the movement of the air, and where those two frequencies cross over, you get a dip or you get a peak. Well, that's not gas pressure moving its way into a corner or moving anywhere. It's just two waves crossing over where you get a dip or you get a peak. It's much more simplistic than people saying, oh, you got to treat your corners because that's where the pressure gathers. Complete horseshit. Anyway.
There would be a lot of dead musicians in the other corner.
Sorry, who is that in Discord? Go ahead.
I said, what on earth are you talking about?
Don't worry your pretty little head about it. Any evidence that we can have a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the center of a presupposed spherical Earth?
No, just drawings and books. More trickery.
Now I'm in the mood for some curry. Mm-hmm.
Any evidence of the R value, Earth radius? Did we cover that already? I think we did.
Yep.
I think that's it then. We've covered all the housekeeping questions.
Yeah.
Happy days.
Happy days indeed.
At least
Yeah,
I've got
2020 sure dealt a big blow to the heliocentric model in so many ways. We're going to have a good end of the year show, I believe. Reminiscing.
Yeah, 2020 has been a good year for Flat Earth in terms of the progression that the argument's made. But there's been lots of other distractions. So from a YouTube point of view, from my perspective, it's been a terrible year. I've had to... I looked at my stats last night. Pretty miserable as a result of this. So I did a big push, put out a load of videos, because I could see that the month before had been terrible, which is this month's pay, which is awful. But I won't get into that. It's very depressing for people watching. The point is, the month prior, or last month, I put in a lot more work to compensate. I'm like, okay, there's a decline in interest. I keep a very close eye on my stats. So I did more work to compensate it for it. And then I looked at the end result in terms of financial gain. $1. It's like, you've earned $1 more this month. I'm like, oh my God. And then I was explaining to my wife, I was like, yeah, but if I hadn't have done all that work, things would be a lot worse than they are. And they're already bad. So, you know, it's worth putting in the extra work to not do horrendously, just do badly, you know, or $1, which is okay. So there we go. So a lot more work to generate a limited amount more interest, because there's loads of other subjects. I totally understand what the score is. You know, 2020's been, for your average Joe, probably quite a traumatic year. Not for me. I'm worried about it in the slightest. But for most people, they've been terrified most of the year. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, that's
you might have to get a real job, Nathan.
I mean, real job. This is a real
while
job.
I'm talking.
Why are you insulting me?
I do YouTube and I have a real job.
That's fascinating.
You're a piece of
I
shit.
couldn't care less what you do.
It's not that
Nobody was
difficult,
asking
really.
what you do.
It's not
Nobody
that
asked
difficult.
you. Nobody asked.
You
Nobody
made
cares.
$1. You made $1 this year, and you've got
No,
a family.
I made
You're a
$1 more
disgrace.
than the month before. Try and pay attention.
Is
Oh,
this
sorry.
where I get glassed
Vacuum, are you
when I
masochist?
go outside?
Are you
Do we have to?
masochist?
Do we have to put up with this troller? Can we just get rid of him now?
Vacuum, are you masochist?
Oh, I'm
Maybe he brought
ignoring you,
proof of
mate.
his globe today.
You're ignoring me.
Maybe we
Are
should
you
celebrate.
masochist, man? Are you masochist? Or not? You can say I'm not.
I'm not going to know what a masochist is.
I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting
I'm just
for the answer. Does
Googling it
tea
now.
get cold?
Yeah, I
You
knew
don't
it.
know what is
I
masochist?
knew it. He's having to
Oh my
Google it.
God.
At least he's honest. Shout out to Samson for the super chat. Put his one finger in the air. Is that like what you do in an American?
I will tell you. That is the reason why you are here. You're torturing yourself.
Okay,
How does
mate.
Nathan's income prove a sphere? Like,
Is
is,
that-
there a
yeah,
way
hold on a
to
second, you could-
associate Nathan's?
Yeah, you could direct that equally towards me, though, John. It was me talking about it, so careful. You know what I mean? It was me that brought it up.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, don't
It's
upset
unrelated.
Nathan.
is what
Don't
I'm
upset
saying.
Nathan, whatever you do.
Only loosely related because I've done more work on the subject. So it's loosely related as that's specifically what I cover. So therefore, my earnings on a subject I cover, when it's what I do, first and foremost as a YouTuber, not really related to Flat Earth. If you distance yourself from it and say, well, I do YouTube too. All right, do you cover this subject? If not, it's not related. We don't care.
Wouldn't you like to know, Nathan?
I don't. You think I'd like to know, you bloody gamma male? We covered this. You think we're all deeply concerned about what you do. None of us care. You bloody gamma male. Yeah, keep telling yourself that what you do and who you are is secretly really important to everybody when literally none of us care.
Literally.
Projection,
I
it's
don't
called.
care. I wish he wasn't even here right now.
Yeah, he thinks we're all really
Yeah,
concerned
I
about what he
agree.
does. We're not.
It's only vacuum. Nathan,
I like the way you say
Maybe
my
he
name.
brought some
Yeah.
proof of globe today. I don't know.
it's nice name. It's vacuum. You know, it's the
No, I was being serious. I
is-
do like the way you say it.
yeah. It's the thing that don't exist. You know.
Okie dokie then.
That's right.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, and I
tell
thought
us
this was
What
an
line seems
ironic.
But how
to-
you-
Hold on a
how you
second, let's
exist?
refresh it.
Sounds like these two have something going, Nathan.
I very nearly
Is it
exist.
funny? Is it funny?
Still
Is it
looking at
funny?
my Discord line. Weird.
How to be?
Going on right now.
Me, my preamp died. I thought it was
Phone
the,
warning next time.
I thought it was the PC. It was actually my
Okay.
preamp. Sorry.
Maybe it's the vacuum.
Hi, Adam.
I wondered what had gone off there, Nathan. I thought I'd join in. It's
What's up, Adam?
Do you
That's only
have?
ever-
How you doing,
That's only ever happened once before,
Anything-
and that happened in the middle of Globebusters. So when I went on Globebusters, that same exact thing happened. The preamp died, and I couldn't hear them talking. So that's anyway. I've just figured it out.
I remember that.
Yeah, they were saying stuff to me, and I didn't know. And then suddenly I realised, oh shit, the preamp's died. So I just quickly pulled out the plug, turned it back off and on again or whatever, and then it came back on, and I could hear them. And they're like, "Can you hear us? Can you hear us?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm really sorry."
Did that
Yeah, I
preamp have
remember.
vacuum tubes in it?
No, you do get.
Okay.
That is the type of preamp I'm talking about, though. Look, be careful. We'll get criticised for talking about hi-fi. Definitely not related to Flat Earth. Although I do use it to produce the show, and it's about Flat Earth, so you know what I mean. Hey, hang on a second. It's Tuesday. How come you're here, Adam?
well, I've just had enough. Everything's locked down, so I thought I'd come and join you guys. There's nobody about, and so I've had a busy morning, and then I was just listening, and I thought need for Dr. Fraser to come in. Our vacuum's here, so I thought I'd just turn up in case we need any more help.
Dr. Fraser, welcome.
Get him. Mister.
Please
I'm
tell me
waiting for
about
the
your mother.
analysis into my psychology.
He's back to thinking we're interested
Yeah.
in
You
him. and his
cannot live
thoughts.
without Nathan, man. And you're a masochist. You don't like him.
Has he
You
figured
you're
out that he
torturing
gets
yourself
told it?
every day. You're coming here and you want to say something about Nathan or blah blah
It's
blah
not every day, is
again.
it?
No, it's every second day. Man,
No,
it's torturing yourself.
Yesterday was the
You are
first
going
time for a
somewhere
few weeks,
when you
actually.
don't like, but you are going somewhere where you don't like every second day. Wow, that's super masochism.
I actually love coming here. It's brilliant.
I thought you
Great.
said you
I
come
told you
because
that you are
bored.
masochist.
Yeah, you're a slippery wanker.
What?
Especially
You're
with
not
your
doing
arguments.
yourself.
I had
You don't
I
do
had to
yourself
explain
any
Nathan
favors.
Especially with
last
your
night.
arguments.
Hold on, one at a time.
I'm a lubed up wank.
You
No
know?
need, please.
Your
No,
argument is the best.
no need.
Yeah, you're not doing yourself any favors, dude. Just keep your mouth shut.
Do you have anything? Is it on
What-
topic?
what are you
Vacuum,
basing
in
that on,
seriousness? Did you actually have
Are
a
you
purpose?
divining my reasons for coming
No, I'm
here?
asking. Do you have an actual purpose on topic or not?
I can't
Like
actually
proof
remember
that
what
you
I was
live on a
talking about,
magical
Nathan, I
spinning water
apologise.
ball,
There you go.
something like that.
Flat Earth.
Hold on,
Globe
Sasha.
Earth.
Hold on.
Oh no, we were talking about your YouTube channel, weren't we?
Now Chocolate's just asked
What?
you a question, though. Go ahead, Chocolate. Do you want to repeat it?
Yeah, Nathan, I asked you if you have any purpose here that's on topic, like any, I don't know, any proof of us living on a magical spinning water ball flying around in the vacuum. Got anything like that?
Well, I do, but I was earlier. I was responding to Nathan's talk about his YouTube channel and his income, so it was
The
on
YouTube
topic.
channel is about flat
If
Earth.
you're gonna be fair to
So,
me.
do you have any proof that it's not flat? Like we live on a ball. You have anything like that?
Yeah, I've got plenty.
Oh, hook us up, man.
No, because it wasn't on topic. We were talking about Nathan's income, so I
We are
commented on
talking
it.
Hey, how
about
about I
that.
just brought the fucking
I
topic
think
back
that's
to
Just
where
the
it's
better
Chocolate.
supposed
way.
to be?
Yeah, you're
Hello. Just Chocolate. Just Vacuum. Thank you.
Yeah, I just brought the topic back, so instead of keep reverting back to what you were talking about like 5 minutes ago, can we get to how you prove that we live on a magical spinning water ball? Please.
Can I prove we're living on a magical spinning water ball? If that's
Yes,
not a
sir.
loaded question, I don't know what is.
Okay. Do you have
if
any
you can ask
proof
me a
that
question
we
that's
live
not
on
loaded,
a
I might answer it.
globe? Is that better for you?
Didn't catch that.
I
You just-
haven't personally done any research, like physical research, but there's plenty of evidence out there. I'm not going to sort of insult your intelligence and point you to
Have you managed to figured out if tea gets cold yet?
it.
Let's
Oh,
just try and
do you
move
want
this
me to
along.
answer that
Sorry, Chocolate's
seriously
asked you
again?
for evidence. You've said you're not going to insult our intelligence by giving us the evidence, but there is evidence out there. And no, we don't take it as an insult. Just tell us what your evidence is that you rely on, if any. If not, we'll just assume you don't have any because you're not presenting anything.
I don't have anything new to this channel, is my point.
Okay, fair enough.
Wait, are you suggesting that now
Thanks, Nathan.
not you are the secret king, but we are the secret king and we are withholding the evidence that you want and are convinced is out there now? This is very confusing.
No, I think it speaks to my earlier point that I made. Was it yesterday or the day before, actually? That this is very boring. You just go over the same things. Just move on. Let's talk about something
Yeah,
interesting.
because we seem to ask these
At least
questions and none of you
Nathan's
guys have
income
any
was
Jesus.
responses.
reasonably interesting.
That's
Everyone, hold
why
on.
it's
Nathan,
boring.
why you don't give
Hold
him
on, Sasha.
the
Hold on,
feeling?
Vacuum. Hold on. Chocolate's responding to you. Just listen, hear him out. Go ahead, Chocolate.
I wasn't interrupting him.
Go ahead, Chocolate.
It's all right. It's all right, man. Look, it's because we ask these questions every day, and none of you guys seem to have any coherent responses to them, and any proof to back them up.
Yeah, so move on. You've won. You've obviously won. So move on.
So what?
If there's no coherent answers to your questions, you've won. So let's move on to something interesting.
Oh,
So it's flat.
yeah.
Well, if no one can answer your questions and they're valid questions, then that would point towards it being flat. So I agree. So now what do you do?
We keep going.
Yeah.
Are you asking the
Exactly,
same
but
questions?
you don't keep going. You keep asking the same
do you
questions
have
every
do you
day
have
and
the
talking
same
about the
questions
same
that we
crap
have?
every day.
Do you have the same questions that we
I
have?
want to know the truth. I want to know what's out there, Chocolate.
There it is.
You lot obviously don't.
There it is.
You're
He's in the
hung
same
up.
boat as us. There it
Yeah.
is.
Welcome to Flat Earth, son.
Yeah, you're in the same boat as us then. Got a lot of questions.
So welcome to Flat Earth. Now
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Now what do we do?
We?
What we do?
hang
Sorry,
out.
we.
Oh, what are you going to do? Don't look at me to guide your life.
What I do is I
This
run a
is deja
debate
vu
show
from a
daily
month
about the
ago.
subject. That's what I do. And people like yourself may come along, realise that there's no answers to the questions in regards to the proof of heliocentrism, and then realise the Earth is flat as a result. Now, had I not been doing it because someone like you came along 6 months ago, 12 months ago, whenever you came along and said, well, now I know that they've lied to me and all I want is more answers, your old debunkings of something that 99% of the Western world still believe is useless to me. So, yeah, now you're in the same boat as us. What, we don't have the answers beyond destroying the current claims? No, we don't. Maybe you could do something about that, rather than saying, we should do more. No, I'm doing precisely what I need to be doing. You, on the other hand, are moaning about how you don't have answers and telling me to give you more, thinking that you deserve them, and you don't.
What exactly are you doing, Nathan?
Just told you. 99% of the Western world think they live on a sphere. And people who come along daily listen to the discussions and come to the conclusions you've come to, which is that there are no answers to these questions that relate directly to proof we're on a sphere in a vacuum. So if there are no questions, as you rightly point out, it's flat. Well, at that point, you've then got a lot of questions and you think they should be answered, and you're here to tell us that we should be answering them. Hilarious. Go and find out for yourself. The world's your oyster, mate. Isn't that wonderful?
That's a really interesting point you've made.
My pleasure. See it for the joy that it is. You don't know. And that's wonderful. Suddenly there's a childlike wonder to the world that you didn't have as an adult.
So you're like a public information in a way.
Or yeah, you could say that. On the other hand, some people on the opposing side would view it that no, we are the arbiters of disinformation when we ask for scientific validity, and they'll ask us how they can get our trust in their sphere religion. So that's still happening, mate. People are still debating it. Just because you've realised the obvious absurdity of the nature of reality being spherical doesn't mean that everyone else who comes along. You know, I'm still growing as a channel. New people come every day to this channel.
That's really interesting. Why do you think? Because
I know what the real
I was
reason
messing
is.
before.
Hold on.
You probably know that.
Hold on, Neil. Go ahead.
Why do you think
vacuum.
people don't take what you say on face value? I wonder.
Because they're indoctrinated with the religion, and that religion has cult-like tendencies to lie to people and use confidence trickster that's a lot of syllables. Confidence trickster tactics. No, it's just a hard thing to pronounce. Confidence trickster tactics. Not stuttering, just hard to pronounce, my friend. Anyway, they use these tactics.
Sounds like a stutter to me, sorry.
Oh, really? So what tactics do they use? Can you repeat what I've just said?
No, because you were stuttering throughout.
What confidence trickster tactics? It's just difficult to say. Why are you ad homing me, personally? I'm just describing how we are swindled. You asked why. Well, at face value, it doesn't comport with their worldview based on a heliocentric model they've been indoctrinated with since birth. That's why. At face value, it's not what they believe in. What do they believe in? It's on screen. Superman flying around a globe. That's what they believe in, because they've seen it at the cinema. So this is what people believe in. So at face value, that's what's in their mind.
You think people base it on Superman?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think your tactics are working, Nathan?
So you think I base it on Superman? Yes, I do.
Okay. Well, let's move on from that. Do you think the way you deal with flat Earth is working with the vast majority of the population?
Well, I was hoping that would develop into a conversation. So, have you ever seen the view I have on screen for my audience now as depicted in Superman, with the world seen from space as a sphere? Have you ever had that view?
I can't see your YouTube.
I just detailed it verbally.
Are you asking if I've ever watched Superman?
No. Try and pay closer attention. Have you ever seen the world from space as a sphere as depicted in Superman?
I've never watched Superman.
Have you seen the world as a sphere from space? You fucking idiot.
I've seen the world from space.
When have you seen it? From space. When have you been to space?
Well, during my undergraduate degree.
You went to space?
No, I didn't go to space, mate.
So you haven't seen the world as a sphere from space as depicted in Superman, then?
I've seen images of the Earth from space.
Oh, you've seen images comparable to my analogous picture on screen with Superman showing you the world as a sphere, precisely where people get the idea from, then? The images you've seen, you complete clown? Yeah, that would be my point, not whether or not you've seen Smegging Superman. The point is people don't get this view of Earth from space as a sphere, but they get it from the films and movies they're shown, like Superman. Yes, that's where they get the idea from. That's why they don't accept what I tell them at face value, because they think it's possible to have a second law of thermodynamics violation sky vacuum, as shown in Superman.
So, to answer my question earlier, do you think your method is working?
My method? What method of what? Be more specific.
Of trying to persuade people.
Trying to persuade people? I ask them to answer questions about their religious faith. And they fail.
You said it was a public service that you were providing, but I'm saying it doesn't really work, your method.
Oh, right.
Vacuum, do you think that Nathan deceiving people? Do you think that Nathan...
No, his method of delivery is what I'm critiquing here.
I
He's not
see.
deceiving
That's
them.
fascinating. Could you do better? Knock yourself out.
Can
I
you
think I
post the
could
link
do
to your
better.
channel so we could see how it's really done, please? Thanks.
No, not yet.
So you don't think I'm doing a good enough job, is what you're saying?
But he's converted you,
Well,
Vacuum,
no
hasn't
one
he, as you
seems to
admitted
believe
earlier. So
you,
he's not doing a good
and
job,
you
but a
only
good
make
enough
$1.
job to convert you.
I don't care if you're converted.
You don't seem to get many converts.
I don't care. I
Go
don't care if
on,
you're
look at the
converted.
success you are. What a glorious success of
You just said that was your whole
turning a sheep
objective of
away
this
from the ball.
endeavour. Was
Yeah,
to
to debate
convert
the
people.
subject. Because lots of people still think they're on a sphere and they want to debate the subject. So that's
Yes,
what I
but
offer.
I'm saying you're not doing a very good job of persuading them.
Yeah, and on screen now for my audience again is another reason why. So we are in the middle of this particular process on screen for my audience. Get the damn thing to come up. There we go. Oh, why is it doing that? Wrong button. Bear with me. There we go. So you've got the 5 stages of loss on screen, and we're right in the middle at bargaining. Beyond bargaining is depression, then acceptance. Now, most people don't want to go over that little particular hurdle. They'd rather stay in bargaining, indefinitely in some instances, and normally regressing to anger or denial at some stage when they're defeated in their argument, not progressing to depression. Now, do I want to force people to progress along that road to depression? No. I don't care. But the bargaining bit, I've got a whole YouTube channel based on that. You don't think I'm doing a very good job of bargaining my point? You said we won. Well, this subject is still very much up for debate, and yet you think we've won the debate. Oh, well, that's good. Given that I run a show about the debate, that I'm winning. Happy days for me.
Yeah, that does sound kind of silly because you did say we won. Now you're saying it's not working, so you might want to make up your mind.
If you go back and listen to what I said, you probably
I do.
won't
Don't
get that
care.
impression.
I do. I listen very closely to what people say.
No, my point is, you ask these questions every day. You say no one has any answers.
That's correct.
So why don't you move on?
Well, because they don't have any answers and still believe it's so. We've already covered this. We listened to what you said.
So
then you went on to ask us why they don't
persuading them
accept it
well
at face value. Now, while I repeat the exact same answers you've clearly ignored, you've chosen to talk through them while I repeat them. So we've covered this. We listened and responded to what you said. Now, we also justified why you're asking, which is to say that now you've come to the realisation that there are no answers from the heliocentric worldview that 95% of the Western world hold, still, and are still debating about it. Think we're the idiots? Wrong, they think? Yet they don't appreciate that we're right. There's still a debate. Well, isn't it handy? I've got a debate show. That's handy, right? With some longevity attached to the show, clearly. But because you, Gamma Male, have realised this, you feel that we need to move on to answer questions you now have. We've established several shows ago, you're a Gamma Male. You think this is all about you. It's not. Sorry to disappoint you. Maybe go out and find some answers for yourself.
Wasn't the Hulk a Gamma
vacuum,
male?
just
I know we were talking about superheroes, but
well, just to bring it back to your critiquing, you were saying, you're converted, and I think we'll all raise a glass to see another soul saved this evening after your confession. Congratulations. But unfortunately, the show does have to go on because Nathan's still got over 6 billion to work on, hasn't he? So, like I say, I'm chuffed that you are, but maybe don't view this all about yourself as Nathan's highlighting. There are other people on the face of the earth, aren't there, other than yourself, that still need waking up. Even though I'm well chuffed that you are no longer being blinded by this nonsense. It's great news, but we've got to crack on something, haven't we?
You've gone from Fraser Crane to
maybe you could be
John the Baptist, Adam.
You what, mate?
Just let him respond. Go ahead, vacuum.
I said you've gone from Fraser Crane to John the Baptist there. You were talking about Nathan.
You're being
He was like,
disingenuous,
Jesus
Vacuum.
Christ or
Stop it.
something. He's got 6 billion souls to save.
Yeah, that's
Come
what I was thinking.
join me in the River Brothers.
That's the way you're talking, isn't it? Whilst it was effectual for you, you're saying the other 6 billion that you're, clearly showing concern about, wondering how Nathan can reach out a bit more. But maybe you could add some positives. Maybe not just critique, but maybe you could make a suggestion.
A critique isn't necessarily negative.
Well, I was just saying maybe you could do something positive.
Well, if you say it like that,
maybe talk about your experience.
What
how you
things
saw
can
the
it do?
light.
Well, as I said earlier, I was joking just to make a point.
I think we're giving this guy too much credit. I have one question for you. If you have a screw and a bolt and you put them together, which way do you spin the bolt to get it on the screw?
Is this another T question?
No, we're just establishing your intelligence here. Which way do you spin the bolt?
Which way do you spin the bolt?
Which way do you spin?
What on
Which
earth are
way
you
do you
talking
spin
about?
the bolt?
Is that an impression of me? It was pretty
Is
good.
that yeah, it's an impression of you, stupid idiot.
Right, okay, so what's the
Let him
question?
answer.
again?
Let him answer.
I'll try-
Eric, stop. Everyone stop.
dimwit,
Everyone
right?
stop. Eric's asked a question. Just let him answer. Go ahead, vacuum. Shout out to Chris Berry. I will read you
Okay,
in a
go
sec.
on. What was the question, sorry?
But Eric is joking.
No, he's
On this
not.
flat
He's
earth
asking a
debate show, what was
question
the
based on
question?
logic.
Yeah, I know, Nathan. But he can say afterwards that he was joking.
You have a screw and you have a bolt. You put them together and you're going to screw the bolt onto the screw. which way do you spin the bolt?
Which way do you spin the bolt?
Why do you repeat the question back?
By time.
It just feels like a trap, to be honest.
Righty,
It's a test
tighty,
of your
lefty,
intelligence.
loosey. Answer the question.
Don't answer for him. Just let's drag this out as long as Eric wants. Go ahead, Eric. Ask him again.
Okay, you have a screw and you have a bolt. You're going to put the bolt onto the screw. Which way are you going to spin the bolt?
So you put the bolt onto the screw. So would it go clockwise? I think it goes clockwise.
Epic.
Yeah, you're an idiot.
You say it wouldn't depend on which way you were holding the screw then?
The screws go onto bolts.
It's the nut and the bolt.
I was going to say, there's where you went there.
That's a good one. That's good. I've got one for you.
Wow.
Hold on. I think he's missed the point.
Get to Wimbledon.
Hold on.
What-
Have you
what
missed the
time
point
does Sean
entirely?
Connery
That
get
was
to
a test of
Wimbledon?
your logic, which you failed.
10-ish.
Oh, God. That was a test of logic, and you failed. Miserably.
I did, yeah, sorry. It was a good one. I'm going to use that
Sean
one.
Connery's dead.
Chris Berry says, can
Yeah,
you
no,
ask
that's why I
him
said
if
it.
his science has been peer-reviewed? Thanks for Super Chat, Chris Berry. Chris Berry's a YouTuber. Subscribe
No, but
today
it's
to
been
Chris Berry.
Apple reviewed.
Did he say
Subscribe today.
pair or peer?
Did pair.
It's kind of
Hair.
Nathan was shouting somebody out, guys. Come
I
on.
was going to say, Chris Berry's a YouTuber. He makes exceptionally good content. Go and subscribe today. Chris Berry. Big shout out again for the Super Chat. So Adam's pleased you're on our side now, even though you're obviously not going to face the ridicule of your own side by actually claiming that's real, although there is no other option from you at this point other than to regress into denial or anger. Oh, you have? My bad. Denial.
When have I ever got angry, Nathan?
No, not. I said denial. You just don't listen.
You said denial and anger, didn't you?
Yeah, those are the steps before bargaining. And people regress. You've regressed to denial. Said it was just a joke. That's denial.
No, that was a denial of what Adam said.
Yeah, a denial that you've appreciated that if all the arguments cannot be answered, that we've won, i.e. it's not a sphere, there are no tenable arguments for a sphere, therefore it's not a sphere. Now, you conceded all those points, but then later went on to denial. So you've reached the point where you could move on to depression, realization that your world isn't sphere-shaped. Instead, you regressed to denial. Just a joke, right?
No. Sorry, I misunderstood what you said, Nathan. My qualification of being in denial, you said, was me denying or saying that it was just a joke. Whereas, in fact, my stage of denial is justified by me actually denying the evidence. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know, do you deny or do you confirm, which we've already covered, evidence of a sphere? That's Chocolate's question.
Sorry,
First
you
question.
broke up there, Nathan. I didn't hear that.
It was original question from Chocolate. We've just come full circle. Do you have evidence for a sphere to back it, or do you deny that we're on a sphere now? That's the T-junction or whatever, your crossroads that you're at.
Well, like I said before, I can point you to evidence, but you already know this evidence. So I don't personally have evidence that you haven't heard before.
So you can't point us towards evidence. Evidence is proof.
Okay, well, we're just arguing over terms there.
Well, proof. Terms that would prove a religious belief in a sphere. And that, yeah, we're at that crossroads.
Yeah,
yes. Not just, well, it's only the crossroads of whether or not I believe the Earth is a sphere flying through a vacuum or the obvious and observable nature of reality being flat. Yeah, that's the crux of the debate. It seems that while you want us to move on, you're very much in the bargaining stage. Wow, it's a good job we didn't listen to you, gamma males, telling us to move on when you're still at the debating stage.
What is a gamma male?
You think you're the secret king? When you came
come on,
here
Nathan.
telling us all about what you did on your channel like we were concerned? No, we're not. We don't care how you believe. The fact that you think we should move on because you have questions and feel that after asking one of those questions and having them answered like right now, that you should continue talking. That's the type of person you are. You think that what you have to say is more important than the question you've asked being answered by the person you've asked it to. That's why you talk. Yeah? It's pathetic.
And is that...
You think you're the most important person here. The secret king.
Is that an accepted term? Because I'm going to start using that.
Yeah, again, back to what you're going to be doing, because that's secretly really important to everyone who's listening, isn't it? Thank you for making my point.
Oh, what? That's really good, that, Nathan.
What? Basic psychology? Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't realise there was a phrase called gamma male, and that perfectly describes what you've just said. I'm not accepting that that's what I am, but
I doubt you would ever accept our description of you being the secret king, because the implication being that as a third party describing you as the secret king, you actually think you're the king of everything. That's how you behave. Like, what you think and how you feel and what you do is relevant to everybody, when in reality it's relevant to no one.
It's relevant to me.
Only you. But you're sharing it like it's of concern to us. It isn't. That might depress
That makes you gamma.
Gamma, yeah.
That makes you a gamma. That's what he's trying to tell you. Shameless plug, Nathan.
QE, we've gone over this, QE.
Ah, don't, how dare you? Did you not hear him say shameless plug? Not shameless at all. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Give my shameless plug, please.
I don't know what I'm plugging. What am I supposed to know? You haven't
no,
told
I
me.
was talking to Numpty. So I'll give my shameless plug at 1 p.m. U.S. Central today, 7 p.m. UK. The Odyssey, Fantasy Geodesy, Quantum Eraser channel. Be here, be sphere.
Will there be a panel?
Yes, sir.
Oh, cool. It's a proper live show.
Proper live show.
Excellent. I'll do a proper plug for it then. Be here or be sphere on the Quantum Eraser YouTube channel at 7 p.m. UK time, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time for a debunking of Geodesy. With that, I'll say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. A huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. Another massive thank you to today's Discord and G+ panels for making today's live show possible. Stay tuned if you're watching on a premiering stream. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video. Shout out to Colin Dresser for becoming a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member as a